That is cool.
It's the anthem. And you know it's a trip. On the way here, I was playing it, in traffic. I'm like, and then he when he wrote the song, he put Beta LA, and I'm like, we're not in LA. But he's like, man, but it sounds good. I'm like, all right. But when I was driving here,
Yeah.
and and like meeting up with Eddie, and you, and everything down here, it's like this LA one's gonna be bigger than.
Yeah, it works.
It's gonna really,
I like that.
help out.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Grind LA, where we pull back the curtain on the hustle, the heart, and the sheer determination it takes to make an impact in this city. I'm your host, Shovon Walker. Today, we're talking about a different kind of grind, one that's about service, sacrifice, and carving out a path for the next generation of heroes. I am incredibly honored to be joined by a man who is literally changing the face of the fire service. He is the visionary behind the Future Fire Academy, an organization dedicated to empowering underrepresented communities and providing the tools, mentorship, and training needed to break into the fire department. He's proving that with the right guidance, the future of our front line is limitless. Please help me welcome California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation Correction Partner of the Year Award recipient, CAL FIRE 1.3 million grant recipient, and recently added to California state budget $1.5 million. WASC, Western Association of Schools and Colleges Accredited School, first justice involved EMT, emergency medical technician, and first to gain employment with the local government municipal fire department, the founder of Future Fire Academy, Anthony Pedro. Glad to have you, brother.
Thanks, bro. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
So,
Yeah.
What made you get into?
Well, I just feel like I should be boxing now. Like,
You can be, hey, but that's what we doing in life, though. That's
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
grind is about,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Just give me a little background on how you got to this point now with the Future Fire Academy.
Well, at the where we're at now, it all started from just knocking on doors and recruiting people, and to help certify them, and becoming a one-stop shop where people can get certified. And I, it's kind of like and I get clowned on all the time because I say it all the time, but I'm like patient zero of our program. Like I just kind of learned the hard way. And learn the easy ways to get in the fire service, and then just say, hey, you know what? A lot, just like anything in life, when you make it somewhere, like, hey, how'd you get there? Or hey, or so and so, well, hey, how'd you do it? So then it started becoming like a part-time job, navigating other folks and showing them, oh, you got to take this class and you need this one, and if you sign up for this class, it's cost this much, and then eventually you develop, everything you need to have a package to then apply. And it's like, so that's kind of like how it started, in the beginning. And then, really just knocking on doors of folks to do some fire clearance around their homes.
Okay.
And then they would donate. And then with that donation, we would buy some equipment. And then over time, we have a lot of equipment. And then getting the grant was a big break. To like now we can get staffing, and to be able to get that accreditation was huge,
Right.
because we're officially a school, and so that WASC accreditation was great. It's helpful, we're Future Fire Academy,
Right.
so it's nice that the first grant we came from Cal Fire, the biggest department in the nation, and maybe in the world.
Right.
I'm sure. They. So it was refreshing. It was our big break. Being able to get that and have more support and stuff. For us. I always say we and everything. We and us. And just like, and in the beginning, it was a lot of just
Mm-hmm.
but even then, it's like from humble beginnings, doing prison time and stuff,
Right.
it's like, there, even if it was I and me, just in the beginning,
Let's
there
go.
was
Let's real quick.
there's more
Let's
help. There's
not to
other
cut
help.
you off,
Yeah,
but let's go into that part
yeah,
about you know what who you were
yeah,
and what got you to the point of saying, "Hey, you know what? I want to. I'm gonna make this a career, and then not only make it a career, but no, I'm gonna help make this a career for other people
yeah,
who've been impacted by the justice system, and pave the way,
yeah,
so I can help make life easier for them or give them the opportunity."
yeah.
Let's go into that about you personally, that line and how you got there.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was there was a buddy of mine who I did time with at the inmate fire program, and then we
Hmm.
came home, and when I was pursuing it, I kind of wanted to leave that behind and just have a fresh start,
Right.
and so I'd never really brought it up,
Okay.
to and so my fire chief, who hired me, he knew about it,
Hmm.
and when I did my panel interview, to be a volunteer firefighter in the beginning, they knew about it, but they just kept it between them,
Hmm.
and the chief, rest in peace, Mark Matthews, he the municipal department told me, he said, hey, you this is your past, he said, I'm blown away that there's such thing as an inmate fire program. He said, I'm from Arizona,
Hmm.
like where where I was a sheriff before fire,
Hmm.
and then looking back when he told me that, I was like, oh man, he's gonna, this is over,
Knock me
I
down.
ain't getting, I
Right.
ain't getting this job,
Right.
and but he told me, I'm known for giving people second chances, and I want to give you the chance, and so he gave me that chance, and so so anyway, when I'm in it, a lot of my peers and superiors, like my leadership, they always wondered, why I was a little bit like up to speed,
Hmm.
and compared to the majority of new entry level firefighters, they have, tendencies to, forget stuff, or,
Right.
like the knowledge, the experience is not there right away. You gain it over time,
Hmm.
so like humbly, I had a lot coming in because I was at an all risk department
Right.
for a long time, and firefighter time, you get great. It was 3 years, but it was no days off,
Right.
whereas fire service, it's 3 days on, 4 days off, or 2 days on, 4 days off,
Hmm.
depending on the schedules. So like, if you look at it that way, that route, I was getting a lot of reps of fires, a lot of repetition, a lot of experience, a lot of training, because we can't leave, we're
Right.
inmates,
Right. You
but
there every day.
yeah, and we're responding to all risk calls in the communities, because that was the mutual aid agreement that institution had
Hmm.
within those city limits of that town.
Hmm.
Because they didn't have the agencies that some towns have, and the
Hmm.
population and the need.
Right.
So it was a good experience. So, and it showed, and so they always kind of wondered why. And then so it wasn't until he passed away, my buddy, when he also passed away, my chief and him. But when my buddy passed away, I just remembered him telling me that, hey, just own it,
Hmm.
you share that, But I wanted my to be transparent with my brothers and sisters in the job,
Hmm.
and then once I felt like I had it with them, and I earned that, then I opened up and told them, And the crazy thing about it, they told me they knew about it, and I was wondering, I'm like, how did you know?
Hmm.
Because they're like, well, what happened was, and so I'm not gonna shout out the people who did it,
Right.
but there was a time in a certain year, and there was a certain group of people
Hmm.
who are like anti former inmate firefighter,
Right.
and there's this group of people as an organization that were hating on me
Hmm.
in the other Ventura Training Center,
Hmm.
that's here in SoCal, the training center, the BTC they call it.
Hmm.
And it was when they were kind of starting up in maybe year two or so,
Hmm.
and I was, at this time when this came out, I was hired on as a full-time permanent firefighter,
Mm.
with them. I went away to go Cal Fire for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but then I came back. I did Cal Fire for a couple and came back as a municipal, like how you mentioned the EMT and
Mm-hmm.
the history making for us folks, but it was when I came back, that's when they told me, and when I was opening, I told them about it, and they were just like, wow, so there was this group that sent out packets about
Mm.
you and your story
Mm.
and about the folks that come from this other program and like totally anti, like we can't let these people work into our line of work and come into this profession, and we can't,
Mm-hmm.
like, how can we do this to our communities and like these people, and like, but they don't know that we're still got background checks, we're
Right.
still vetted to even go through the inmate program, more or
Right.
less through civilian fire service positions. It's a vetting process, and so they didn't even, that they didn't so I didn't know that they knew, but they protected me from that,
Mm-hmm.
and then looking back when I was responding on calls within other agencies,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would kind of look at me. I'm like, man, what was that? I thought
Why
they, I
were
was
they
like,
looking at
I
you?
didn't, why were they always like looking at, but
Right.
it granted in this community, I was the only person who wasn't white, like
Mm-hmm.
it's not, a lot of like diversity in
Right.
and that
Mm-hmm.
jurisdiction. There wasn't a whole lot. So I was like, maybe it's, because I'm not white, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. But that flyer went out and they sent it to all the departments around the whole surrounding,
Wow.
just to hate on us, and just to hate on me, and they sent it all around. It was a group of people. And I ain't gonna give them that much to shout them out,
Names and nothing. Yeah.
But haters make you famous
Yeah.
because the department had my back, and they said that they just showed it, that they really protected me from even knowing about it,
Mm-hmm.
and to the point, and when I got full time and permanent, that they were like, when I mentioned it, then they said, oh yeah, we knew, and I said, what? They're like, yeah, we actually saved it. You want to see it? I was like, yeah, I want to see it. Like, why didn't you tell me,
Right.
fucker? And so then they pulled it out and they showed me. Sure enough, there's a picture of me from a inspirational video I did years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Some other stuff, of the fellas down here, making good waves, but they just turned it into a negative, So it's like, so that's what pushed me, because it was losing my friends that I was in the fire program with. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
them weren't successful in trying to get in, but they did try it, and the fire service would have been blessed to have them
Mm-hmm.
because they were great dialed firefighters,
Right.
and so and they're that breed of us, like
Mm-hmm.
that. So when they passed, I was like, you know what, I gotta help. Like, there's got to be something in place for this, where we can help more people. And so at this point, it was like, there's some people who say don't. There's different views on chasing the rank in firefighting.
Mm-hmm.
It's always better to like get your way there. But I felt like after the 3 years of nonstop, like I felt my experience level was there,
Mm-hmm.
and I was having a lot of back surgeries and stuff
Mm-hmm.
because of injuries I got from the job,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was chasing the rank. I promoted fast.
Mm-hmm.
From volunteer shift over to seasonal with Cal Fire for a couple years. Then they offered me a permanent spot. Left that, went to the municipal, got on as a permanent firefighter, then promoted to engineer,
Mm-hmm.
and so the next goal was captain and so on. But I
Mm-hmm.
figured, if I'm going to put in my energy into something, I want it to be, something more meaningful, and I feel like that department will be fine. They'll get other people,
Right.
and like instead, let's put energy into something that can be that help more. They
Mm-hmm.
can help more people. And I'm grateful for the chance that they gave me. And so ultimately, it was the the route that I learned, everything from being an inmate firefighter and getting the niche for training and teaching folks,
Mm-hmm.
because teaching them I felt made me better, because I felt like I wasn't great in the beginning. I needed to be better, and to get better, I figured, well, if I study enough to learn enough to teach the new firefighters that come after me, then that's gonna push me. And
Mm-hmm.
then that's when the niche of training came and teaching. And so then, fast forward back to where it was, all right, am I pushing for this captain position next,
Mm-hmm.
or is it going to be towards this, nonprofit idea was coming,
Mm.
and it was actually the Ventura Training Center is what gave me the idea,
Okay.
because we didn't have nothing up in Northern California like that for us up north, and I was kind of taking the lead on it through our community of folks, and so that's how it started, like
Mm.
really like from the beginning, and it was taking losses of friends that were passing away when they came home. Their transitions were harder, weren't as easy, like I still struggle, but I was persistent, and never did I have a chance where doors closed. They always just open,
Okay.
it just worked out that way,
Mm.
you know
Mm.
and so and it was fulfilling,
Mhm.
to help people. And it's like, maybe, I'm not in it, but I felt like if I was in the fire service, it would be selfish of me,
Mm.
I felt like it'd be selfish to do that. And then honestly, like, I felt like at a point where, like, the whole, like, entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
it's like it was something that, like, I knew that was like my calling to do that. I felt that it was, and this has started years before, and planted seeds from my great grandparents
Mhm.
of entrepreneurs, from Mexico.
Right.
My great grandpa had like a horse carriage business
Mhm.
in Michoacan, apparently,
Right.
and then and his wife, had a restaurant,
Mhm.
and then he passed, and then she sold his company,
Mhm.
and then sent all the family to Texas,
Mm.
and then from Texas, there were more entrepreneurs came from that family, and then which developed in my grandpa, and my grandpa, same thing, entrepreneur mindset, and
So it's in the genes.
it's in the genes, and
Mhm.
then it's also the giving part,
Mhm.
because even, the Mexico stories that I heard, what they would always donate food,
Mhm.
and then from the restaurant and the community, and then even my grandpa, when he was supposed to join the military,
Mhm.
and he got in a motorcycle wreck,
Mhm.
so he ended up starting a nonprofit to help veterans out.
Mhm.
It was called the GI Forum, and it was in the Bay Area, and it was a good nonprofit. He still
Okay.
pursued his, businesses. He had
Mm.
two companies, thriving companies, and and so that he did that too. And then my mom, like, same thing, single mom raising us boys alone by herself,
Mm.
like we were raised volunteering in a soup kitchen every Friday.
Mm.
We were in there volunteering, and sometimes we needed that food too, because
Mhm.
we were poor, so, like, sometimes we were there to also eat, but we were volunteering and helping, like, and that was every Friday growing up, volunteering. And when, so it was just kind of planted through
Yeah.
generations of
It
entrepreneurship,
seems it
giving
seems like
back,
like you've always
it's just,
your life has been about service
so,
and so forth.
yes, so it's just
That's
easy,
cool.
and to, it's like, and then being in that position where, rewinding back, where it was like, I just felt like it would have been selfish to just pursue my own career,
Right.
if I can, like, show other people, like, hey, this is another way. Like, I don't know if you watch on Netflix right now, they got Spartacus. You ever seen that show?
Yeah. Well, I haven't watched it, but I
Yeah,
seen the
yeah,
commercial,
man. So it's like, I don't know, I feel
the
like a lot.
series you talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, like, a lot of entrepreneurs, like, we tend to, like, dig into history and stuff,
Right.
like, how did they do it? What would they do?
Mhm.
What would go? But so I was watching Spartacus, it's like there was a group of guys, they're gladiators,
Mhm.
and they're like slaves, but they're gladiators,
Mhm.
and they would hold on these big old coliseums and have the fights. But there was a few champions that, like, kind of came together,
Mhm.
and then they broke free, and then they started their own, like, army,
Right.
and they ended up, like, they were a force to be reckoned with, and it lasted for years and years and years, and
Mhm.
they were demolishing Roman legions,
Mhm.
these, and it was just they found a way out, but they didn't just get themselves out.
Right.
They went to other gladiator, coliseums, and they call them lanistas, and
Mhm.
they were breaking out the other ones too that
making a way for the
making
other
a wave, and
Right.
then they're kind of like, and they had their own thing, and they were training each other, and they're bringing in slaves who weren't gladiators and training them to fight, and they had a community. It's just like, so sometimes I think about like us, wave of firefighters who, we're kind of like in the beginning of this, of like, and giving it back, and being vocal and open to the fact of embracing our backgrounds, of being justice involved.
Right.
We didn't fly under the radar. We were open with it,
Right.
and like we're giving back now in these ways, and it's a lot of even VTC alumni, because now they've been going on for years, 8 years. They have graduations all the time.
What is VTC?
The Ventura Training Center?
Okay.
So it's a partnership collaboration with Anti-Racism Coalition, ARC, California Conservation Corps, Triple C's. It's got Cal Fire in it for the training aspects, and then they got CDCR for the supervision of folks come on parole. But it's once they're done serving time, they go to this program and they live there. They work, they fight fire, they train. It's like 18 months, and so you got to come from fire camp and the firehouse to programs like where I came from, or the fire camp, to get in.
Okay.
And it's a great program, and
So they can't. So an individual coming out of prison can't just volunteer to go. They have to already been in
yeah,
the fire camp, in prison, and then transition to that program if that's the route they choose to take.
yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. And for me, like I came from the firehouse where they gave us some certificates, but I needed more.
Right.
So I kind of pieced myself to the classes that I needed and put together that package without going to Ventura Training Center.
Okay.
And so and that's how we ultimately developed Future Fire Academy. And so now that's kind of where we're at with it. And man, it's been a fun ride. Like it's the journey. The journey's been great, and it's still continuing. And the entrepreneurship is I'm learning, and I'm looking back, even like the history thing, like of my grandpa. It's like growing up watching him, like conducting business with my grandma in the living room, and they had customers come in for their typewriter company that they had, that back when typewriters were
The thing.
right, before the computers,
Right.
and then but they did invest in computers though.
Right.
Grandpa and grandma were smart, and so then and they had a real estate company, so like just watching them, is like over, and hearing them, the conducting business, the professionalism and the hard work and the grit and the grind. The grind is real when it comes to the entrepreneurship. It don't stop, and you got to be a certain breed of a person to be able to do it.
Facts.
Like, and to have that.
Facts.
It's like looking back, like, man, Grandpa, like I feel like I'm at where you were at one point. It's like, and I wish he was still alive to share and talk with him and learn. Like to get feedback and like talk with him, but I feel they're always with us.
That's what I was gonna say.
We keep them alive.
No matter what, that spirit is within you.
Yeah.
Their spirit, I guarantee you, is within you. Even when you go through difficult times, it's like, hey, they're right there with you. You know, to help you think clearly, to keep moving forward. Because look at all you've accomplished.
Man.
In this process, you've been from prison to training to be a firefighter, and then deciding to say, you know what, let me give back to the community, or let me give hope to others who went through the fire program, that they can actually make a career and actually live a life, by doing this job.
It was hard though,
right,
to make that decision, and it's like, I don't know, it's like I have learning disabilities, and so I struggled in life.
Talk about that.
Always, like always struggle, always behind, and so like and then not to mention then the prison part, and like that struggle. So it's like, so now when it comes to business, and there's struggles in business, a lot of taking risks. You got to take risks, and so it's like now, it's taking risks without the with a good
Right.
outcome,
Right. With a
and
good
for a good
result.
with a good cause,
Right.
with yeah, it's so much better now, and it's like, but that's where people sometimes like, either you are or you either you got it or you don't, sometimes, it's like, I always say this too, it's like you always got to do in business, you got to do what makes sense, it's like some people when they go about business, they have this idea and this dream,
Mm.
and then they shoot for that dream, but sometimes you can't go straight for that. You got to do what makes sense first,
Right.
and you could work your way there.
Right.
And you got to do, like I have a for-profit business
Mm-hmm.
aside from the nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a land management company,
Okay.
and it was something that just stumbled across, and it's land management and mostly landscaping,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just an opportunity that came, and it's
Mm.
like, hey, like, hey, let's try it. So it's two companies that I have,
That's cool.
but the land management is a thriving business,
Mm.
but I didn't think it would be landscaping that would, like,
Right.
and
That
so
bring in the money.
but it's
Some
it's
money to you. Right.
it's a compliment though,
Right.
because I've hired folks from the fire academy
Mm-hmm.
to on with the landscaping, and there was times in the beginning when the landscaping was thriving so much
Mm.
on contracts. The fire academy didn't yet receive any grant funding,
You
no
was helping
fund, so I
fund.
was able to help.
That's
If we
cool.
needed fuel, I use
Mm-hmm.
everything, and still, it's like there's always ways where I always help out the nonprofit, always.
That's the grind, though.
Yeah,
That's that, and I think that's the key for anybody starting any business. You may have to fund things from your 9 to 5
yeah,
to start to get this business going, but you have to stay dedicated,
mm-hmm,
and you have to be willing to make those sacrifices, as you would say, those risks
yeah,
to get to where you want to get,
like,
or
yeah,
at least to give yourself the opportunity to get there.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's
Yeah, it's so
amazing, bro.
true, man. Cause yeah, it's the grit, like you said, and the hustle, and and being able to like have like a switch too,
Hmm.
like a family switch.
Right,
Now it's family time,
right.
but be able to disconnect, cause like I remember there was even times when I felt the most like at peace and the most like the times when I had the clearest mind was when I was in that single cell.
Mm,
Back rewinding to the county jail, because
right.
the county jail I was at, it was all single cell living.
Mm,
You start off double cell and
mm,
then you work your way to everyone's in a single cell,
mm,
and that was tough.
mm.
But once I was able to like be in that, and my boy Eddie Herrera mentioned earlier when we were talking, it's kind of like that analogy he had mentioned, like a dog on a chain on a
Mhm.
post,
Right.
and they can only go as far as that chain will allow them,
Mhm.
and eventually it breaks their spirit. And if you take that chain off, they're not gonna travel past
Past that,
that.
because they don't know
They don't
nothing
know,
past.
they don't know that,
Yeah, it's
and so
unfamiliar
like,
territory.
yeah, and so like so it's like, that being in that cell, like, yeah, the spirit could be broken, but it's still in there. You just
Mhm.
gotta pull it out of you
Right.
again. But it was in that cell, in that little circle, where I was able to be so clear minded and envision all these things.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna read, study up and read, and like it was planning it,
Mhm.
like in when I was away, if we didn't, your mind's not clouded by the distractions of social media and,
Right.
you know, um, anything,
The
the
everyday
hustle,
hustle.
yeah,
Right.
it's like you're just able to be clear minded. So sometimes it's now in the entrepreneur mindset, my business partner, Michelle Sotelo,
Mhm.
we're doing a lot of new developing things right now, her and I, with the programs,
Okay.
and there's a lot of growth happening. And sometimes we find ourselves like tunnel vision in this box.
Mhm.
And so she recently went to Costa Rica and Panama to go teach in the prisons,
Mhm.
what she does,
Mhm.
it's a reintegration academy and helping people transition to being free,
Okay.
and life stuff,
Mhm.
like skills and financial literacy and things like that, like that's her thing. Like, and that's she brings that to our academy too for folks.
Okay.
So she goes down there with a group of folks through a college partner that she has, the reintegration folks. So they go down, and when she came back, when she was gone, I already thought, I'm like, I'm glad she got to step outside the box,
Mm-hmm.
and she came back not only with the tan, but she came back uh uh just rejuvenated, and just like, and I saw him like, hey, that was a good trip, huh? And I'm like, hey, let's make it a thing before we make any big business decisions. Let's
Do something
yeah, let's get out the box
different,
somehow.
right?
Because get close to where, like, even for me driving from LA, from Northern California to LA today, I did the drive. Like, those are my favorite,
Right.
because it's just, that's when I can get in my mind, no radio, no music, no nothing. I just driving
The
in
thoughts are
silence,
clear.
and then the thoughts are clear,
Mm.
new ideas pop up, and that's kind of like your, how people say the self-care,
Mhm.
it's like you gotta do that,
Yeah, you have to.
you gotta, it's
That's
important.
self-care. That's one thing I'm very solid about, is people taking care, having that self-care. No
Yeah,
matter what you're doing, sports,
yeah,
business, just everyday life, you have to take those moments
yeah,
for yourself to regenerate,
yeah,
yourself, your mind, get your
yeah,
thoughts clear, the things that don't need to be in your mind, clear them out. Make your thoughts line whatever thoughts you have about life, whatever, line them
yeah,
up. I personally go to the beach a lot, just
yeah.
by myself, and I'll just look at the
And
water,
the
the
waves.
sand, hear the
Yeah.
sounds, the natural sounds,
Mm-hmm.
and it clears my mind.
Yeah.
And then I'm rejuvenated, and then I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, let me get back to
Yeah.
what I got to do. But
Yeah.
I'm stepping. I'm not carrying any anger
Yeah.
or any disappointment. I'm like, whatever it is in front of me, now I'm able to step to it.
Yeah.
You know. So,
That's right, bro. That's right. Yeah, it's yeah, it is, it's a great thing, being able to get calls from folks from the program, and they, in the beginning years, it was always something like, oh, I got the fire job, or I got,
hmm
but now it's like, hey, I bought the house,
right,
hey, I got, so it's really cool. It's awesome to hear that,
right,
instead of, the calls from prison,
right.
like, oh
I'm back
man,
in
yeah,
jail, or
yeah, like, when that global tel link, this is a
Mhm.
call from, or, it's nice to, yeah, so it's,
How does it feel to you personally that you started the Future Fire Academy, to hear those calls, to say, hey, look, because you see them from the beginning,
yeah, yeah,
and then now they're moving around in life, moving up in life, you know, living life, because a lot of times we were just existing,
mm-hmm.
but now that they're living life, and they have this career that you help them get.
Honestly, to be honest with you, it gives me that extra boost again, because sometimes in the business stuff, it's like social media, people will put stuff with the best angle, or the
Mm,
best, they're always like, but it's not the truth,
right.
and so sometimes, I'm struggling myself,
Mm,
with whatever situation it may be, I'm going through some type of struggle, and so when I get that, I'm like, I needed that,
right.
like that's why we do this,
Right.
and even, there's been times where I've been taken advantage of,
Mm,
where bad, partnerships that, I didn't go through with,
mm,
because the certain things that, contracts, like
mm,
Kanye West type stuff,
right.
where he didn't want to.
Yeah, man,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not doing that.
yeah.
Right.
Like, I ain't selling my soul to you.
Right.
Nah,
Right.
like that. Like, be straight up with you. There was a lot of people taken advantage of in the beginning.
Mm,
But I felt like that was a free college class,
right.
and I thanked them for
Mm,
for that. I'm glad that that happened, because through that I got to learn contracts
mm,
and MOUs. I got to learn that,
mm.
through that, and what not to sign up for, and what not to, allow in, it's,
What are MOUs?
it's a mutual understanding agreement. It's like,
Okay.
yeah, Yeah, a memorandum of understanding agreement, you know.
Okay.
And then there's other contracts too. Like say for example, in the beginning, there was a good partner who wanted to be a part of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And someone tried to middleman it. And hey, I got you. I'm gonna help you do this.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. I'm gonna help you get this partnership and some funding. I'm like, okay, but you need help. Like, let me help you. No, I got you. You could trust me. You could trust me. Those words.
Mm-hmm. You can trust
You
me.
trust me. You could trust me. And I'm on the grind. You
Right.
know, with the cadets. You know, we're out doing fundraising. You know, by doing land management and creating a healthier California.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
in a healthy forest. You know, and we're doing what we're supposed to do. And so I keep feedback. You know, hey, how's it going? What's the update? Oh, it's looking good. You're gonna have that contract soon. All right, a little more time passes. Hey, the contract for you is almost finalized. I got you. And then at the end, it's like, hey, we got the contract. And I was like, cool. And I'm about that you know, because I don't like the I, you know. Even from the beginning, when it was just I, you know, I always said we, us, you know, like it's a team, you know. It's humble, you know. And even when it was just I, someone still gave me a second chance. Someone was rooting from the sideline when I was by myself, you know, sleeping in the car, you know, struggling in my own car, you know, actually a car that I borrowed. I'm sleeping in it, you know, struggling for this, you know, but I had the drive, you know. And it's like, this is temporary, you know. And so what does that mean? Well, you know, so the partnership was actually with me and them, and you're my contractor. So and then I'll like pass you some. I was like, what? I was like, what does that mean? Like, you're not a fire academy. And then it was just like, so that's when I had to take a step back and be like, you know what? I'd rather not get anything. And we'll keep doing this way.
How we're doing
the
it.
honest way, you know? And that's why I ended that, you know? And so, like, I'm not going to, once again, I'm not going to name drop. I'm not going to mention no names because that, once again, that gives them credit, you know? Like, I'll let our haters will make us famous. And here's a prime example of haters make you famous. So, at every fire academy class, we always have, the first class, we have our traditions. We do 6-mile run. We do a pack test, which is a 45-pound weighted pack, and you have to walk 45 minutes. You have to pass that, you know. And so it's a test that we do. So when they're done, I always have this tradition of interviewing the cadets for the first time, and I asked them the question, why do you want to be a firefighter? And so I made the reels, and I keep them under a minute. And so I keep them under a minute because, you know, the reels that you got 59 seconds or whatever. So I organically, we had a big group the first one. So I'm going kind of fast, asking them the question. Some of them are kind of stumbled on it. Some of them just spit out what they thought of. And at the end, I'm like, you know, it's organic, it's real, it's them saying. So I'm just gonna post it. And it went viral.
That's what's up.
But the comments, the likes, the shares, you know, is like good comments. But there is hater comments. There's even a show. I don't even want to name drop them once again, you know. But they like screen recorded my video and posted it themselves, and but they analyzed it on a talk show, and it like really took a big trend, you know. Why you want to be a firefighter?
But at the end of the day, it's shining light.
At the end of the day, we have our applications have went up by like 10%. Like it's so like in the beginning we always advertise and market, and we still do. You know, we'll still post it, but we have so many applicants coming in now, especially that we're going statewide. You know, like this new shift. You know, this last year we had fire academies in San Francisco, Stockton, Sacramento, Santa Rosa. With our friend Xavier, he helped that one, and then all of our alumni who come back and volunteer or even help out in any way to we're able to expand all through Northern California, you know, and so so it's been great, but now with our expansion down here, it's gonna be even better, you know, like to come to LA, you know, it's like it would be great down here.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's like a lot of fire departments take pride in when you leave them to go to a different department with maybe more square miles or more departments, or it's okay, you know, for
Right.
them. You know, it's like they take pride in that. And so when I left Cal Fire, they were like, they helped me practice my interviews, and I did it with them. And then when I went to the municipal department, and I thrived in it, you know. But so anyway, so we have some cadets that will leave us, or after they're done with us, to if they get accepted into the Ventura Training Center, and we take pride in that too.
Right.
Because that, hey, if they're able to give more than what we can give you,
Right.
go. You
Yeah,
know?
we applaud
Yeah,
that.
and then so we got one, and he's like top right now, and he's like already gunning, and he got graduation tomorrow.
Wow.
So that's why we came down also to one for you, and then we're gonna go be able to, you know,
That's cool.
congratulate him on his accomplishments. So and we feel happy to be a part of his journey, you know.
That's
Like
cool.
we're thankful that his journey, that we crossed paths, you know, in his journey. It was another way for him to get his goals, you know, and it ain't only about getting the job.
Right.
It's impacting the lives of their families, their kids, you know, and all that. So it's like, that's the best, you know. And it's like, so even in times in the business when, you know, we were just broke, you know, struggling financially, and like even with, you know, the example of that time when, you know, I didn't go through with that partnership, and because the contract funny stuff, you know, it's like even that time, man, we could have used that money.
Right.
It's like, oh man,
Right.
but you know, I just wasn't gonna, you know,
You got to stick with your gut.
yeah,
Like,
you know.
no.
So, and I'm glad we
Man.
did, because we did it all independently, you know, and thriving, you know, better in that. This is small community where this was at, and now we're going statewide, you know. It's like the bigger picture, you know?
Right.
It's like, it's a small, even statewide, it's still a small speck in the earth, you know. We're like trying to do the best we can,
Right.
but it's like, even in times when we're struggling, it's like we're still doing good by society and by people, that like the rewards will come eventually.
Absolutely.
So when the state budget come, I'm like, thank you, Jesus.
Thank you. Right.
And
But
it's like, and even then, you know, it's like, you know, we're barely scraping the surface. You know, I feel like, you know, because there's thousands of inmates are released that come from the fire program, and between our program, BTC, you know, there's other programs or schools that might be doing things like this, that it's like, we're barely scraping the surface, you know. And it's like, not everyone's meant to do like fire. Maybe they did it because it was something that they learned while they were away
Right.
through the program, because it was the best option in there. But it's like, hey, there's also other options too,
Right.
of things that you can do, because maybe you paroled at a age that was a little older. Maybe, you know, your knee's bad or something. Who knows? You know, from but so now it's like we're working on developing other opportunities to provide other certifications and education, and you know, it's like fire kind of opened the doors. You know, it's the hot topic.
Right.
You know,
It definitely is.
You know, but it's like
Literally.
but there's also other things too, like my boy Jersey with the Second Chance Kitchen. You know, like, you know, firefighters, we're the cooks. You know, we're the ones doing all the cooking. And like, he taught me a lot. I learned last week when I burnt some fries. You know, he said it's all about temperature. So in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, you got to freeze it and fridge, but it's also cooking temperatures. You know,
Cooking,
and then so yeah, even you know, even Wolfie too, with the technology and stuff, and bringing that to, you know, hey, how can we educate, you know, these guys, and like being able to start their own platform or something. Like, how can we give them more, you know, even construction, you know, like giving different trades,
right,
you know, so
where they
that's,
can pick and choose to say, hey, okay, I may not be able to excel there because of this ailment or whatever, but I can go here, and I'll enjoy that just as much.
Oh yeah,
you know?
even my boy Stephen Green, you know, he, similar story. We did time together. He ended up going the tree service route, and became really successful in the tree industry. And he's a tree climber and ran crews for big tree companies, you know. And so like we're working on developing curriculum where he can come in because now he can certify. He's
Mm,
certified to certify in the tree industry. So it's cool. It's another option. It's another way. It's something we want to add. So there's a
mhm.
lot of things that we're like growing,
That's cool.
and so just to complement it and give more opportunities, for folks.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to hit. It was a part where you said that you were living in the car.
Mm.
You know, because a lot of entrepreneurs go have been or go through that phase.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not everyone, but a lot do. Where what your heart is and what you're giving or trying to build, it's hard. You're struggling.
Yeah.
You know, you may have gave your last bit of savings to get this thing off the
Yeah.
and things look bleak
Yeah.
in the beginning. Like,
Yeah.
is it gonna really happen?
Yeah.
But I want to know, like, personally, Lee, what would you tell people? How did you feel at that time, and what did you do to get through those moments?
Honestly, like things were so busy at that time
Mm,
that like, and even that sleep, it was just like 4 or 5 hours,
mm,
because then I was working two jobs at that
mm,
time, and three,
mm,
ish. And so it was like, it was just like, it happened so fast,
mm,
but it was better for me because, like, it's the living environment
mm,
or bad living conditions,
mm,
or is it the commute for the work, or
mm,
is it better that I just sleep in this car right now and this will save a lot when I
mm,
don't have a lot to spend.
mm,
So it's just like balancing it out and like, well, if I do this for about 6 months, then I can have enough to do this, and now I can do that, and then I'll get the
mm.
fire job, where then I
Right,
could just get a house.
right.
So it was like, it was seeing the end goal, and then it helped make it where it's like, because I knew I didn't want to be homeless,
Mm,
but I knew at that time I had to be.
mm,
But when I did my time, I would see people come back. You know,
mm,
and I'm still there doing the same term, well, my first and only,
mm,
and I'm saying like, man, how do you guys come back?
mm,
But it was a couple of times when it was hard, when I'm like, where in my mind I had bad thoughts,
mm.
and clearly I'm not a good criminal. I got
Right.
caught the first time,
We getting caught.
so like,
Right.
but it crossed my mind. I'm like, that's why they go back,
Mm,
because like when you envision it and it don't happen that way right away on your own time, it happens on in the time that it's meant to happen on.
mm.
Then sometimes you want to force it, and that's
Right.
not always good.
Just
And
facts.
this, even with business too, going back to that, it's like, um, like I remember growing up, there was this older senior citizens, and they wanted to start this little small market,
Mm.
but they put it next to a grocery store, and next,
Right.
and it was such a cute market with the little old things that like you could tell they had saved in boxes since like the 70s,
Yeah.
maybe, and like maybe before.
Right.
And so now they had all these items up, and it was really organized and real professional. And it's just like, and just going in, even as a kid, I knew it was gonna fail.
Mm.
Like I knew it was gonna, like, because that was the dream, but it didn't make sense,
Right.
and it wasn't, especially the location, not
Right. Next to a grocery store. Right.
grocery store, and so
Right.
it's like, like, I feel like, sometimes we learn more from other people's mistakes too, and
True.
that's why, like, we're putting a lot of energy into the we call John Cesario, a good friend of mine. It's all about the prevention, Anthony. We
Mm.
got to put in our energy to the prevention, and we got to get them before they go.
Right.
So I'm just like, so and he's right. We got to get, like, what can we learn from all these mistakes?
Mm.
And if folks like myself and other VTC alumni who also pay it forward in their own ways, or other folks in this fire way, industry,
Mm-hmm.
leaders in other industries, the justice involved, like we're paving ways for our folks like Spartacus,
Right.
like we're trying,
Mm-hmm.
and we're rolling with the punches and adjusting and adapting, but we're also learning from, well, like, okay, well, how do we start from the beginning to prevent it
Mm.
so that it don't get here?
Right.
Because sometimes I feel like a lot of times, like we talked about it before, is like like the product of the environment and stuff. How'd you say that? How'd you remember?
Well, you can be the product of your environment or what's around you.
Yeah.
Like that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have to be involved. I didn't have to be in the streets.
Yeah.
You know, I had a decent family, you know, but when I left my family and I was out school or wherever I was going, this is what I saw.
Yeah.
And it sucked me in, you know, and it didn't have to be, but
and even then, like, so you're back when you did time, I did time, you know, it's like when that happened, it's all the laws were like odds were against us, you know? And it's like now, you know, me, you know, myself and other folks and like ARC and like we're trying to like help other bills pass to change it, but it's like the government, you know, before this, you know, people, it's like it's kind of like we're cleaning up the mess that they made.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I really feel like that sometimes. Like, you know, it's like, man, it's like think about it. It costs $132,000 or so to house one inmate a year. I'm sure it went up. Like, but it's like, man, you know, like a donation for that much, man, I can help like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
a group,
7, and now they're gonna be making
money
that same amount because that's around what they're making. You know, like close to it on a good, you know, fire season. You know, like a busy overtime season. We'll say we don't want to call fire season good,
right?
But you know,
at any point, right.
but you know, so it's like, and now they're paying taxes, right? Because right now we're all paying taxes of incarcerated population. Right now we're paying into that 132, right? We're all paying. So it's like if we can help this way and lower, you know, now it's just better. And then once again, it's not just getting a job, but it's impacting the lives around them, you know.
And I think that's important. And I you got groups of people who feel like no, they're not worth investing in. But my thought process has always been, even when I was in prison, like, why wouldn't you? Do you want prisoners to come back out and be the same?
Yeah.
Thought process, to be on the same or be in the same position that had them thinking it was okay to commit crime, to do this? Why don't we start using money or opening the opportunities so people could come out of prison and have a viable life?
Yeah.
Not be stuck with this $200 you got when you were released.
Yeah.
And then now you got to find out they had some programs. They've always had some sort of programs, but I don't think they were really, some of these programs weren't meant to help you really elevate. It was just like, let's get this state money.
Yeah.
Let's get these guys in here and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
You know, but not really to stabilize their life and help turn them around. You know, it's a wraparound. That's why, like I said, and I'm not just trying to plug Homeboy Industries. It really helped me.
Yeah.
When I got out of prison and went to Homeboy Industries, what they didn't have, they had the connection to it. Yeah. Or just like art, the same way. You know, I know Scott Budnick and he's very cool. And the same thing. They're looking for, how do we support these guys when they come out of prison? I remember when I was in prison, I've been in prison before and I got out, there was nowhere I could go.
Yeah.
Enough. You know, even the parole officer said, oh, we got this available. But I had to go through all this red tape. Yeah. But life is going for me daily. Yeah. How am I going to pay this? Or I'm living with somebody. Yeah. Hey, well, why you ain't got no job? Yeah. Jobs were available. Only jobs available, I think, was, you know, basic. Yeah. Not something I could really live on. Not something that I can elevate from. Yeah. You know? Exactly. So I'm like, well, but where's the opportunities in the places that I would go? I was fired. You know, because I got this job. I mean, I got this record. Yeah, yeah. You know, so the doors was closing. But what I do like now, the climate now, is that the doors are opening. Oh, yeah. And now it's up to us. Yeah. To take the opportunities. And, you know, there are some doors still closing, and there are some doors that say they're open. Yeah. But you're really not. Yeah. You know? Yeah. But there are a lot of opportunities available now.
And it's like also in a way, too, it's like, I feel like, it's definitely different. It's definitely a different time now
Mm-hmm.
because when you got you know CEOs or folks that run in huge corporate companies, no background, clean background, just but sleeved up from the neck to the wrist, drive
Right.
a Harley Davidson on Sundays.
Right.
It's like it's accepted.
Right.
That's the image of our
Mm-hmm.
population.
Right.
It's like certain the music. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it's the culture. At least in California, at least I feel
Right.
like we're at a point now where it's like it's a little bit more accepting. It's like of giving chances, and then if not, we're gonna keep on fighting for these other bills to pass, and let's make it happen.
Absolutely.
And then like we're gonna do that then, like because either way we're not going nowhere. And like
Mm-hmm.
you said, it's like we're quick to like I feel like help out other countries when it's like these are U.S. citizens, this population, our community is we're Americans,
Right.
like here that need help here.
Right.
So like if they're not, no one else is gonna do it, like we're gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do it. That's our people. It's our folks. That they're So yeah, a lot of times I feel like we're doing that work that needs to be done. Like
Absolutely.
we're filling the gaps of stuff. Like and it's rewarding, but
Mm-hmm.
it needs to be done. And if no one's gonna do it, it's easy to complain about it. Just like the young generation, the younger group, they'll be like, oh, they're always on the phones, or oh, they're
Mm-hmm.
entitled, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, well, how about we help them?
Right.
Like we accept the youth to our fire academy with
Mm-hmm.
our, and I've had moms call me and literally ask me, can you make a man out of my son? And they said,
Right.
I said, send him over. I
Right.
said, but tell him to apply.
Right.
You're calling me.
Yeah.
You applied for him.
Right.
Like, tell him to apply. Well, let's
Right.
start off that way.
Right.
And so don't hold his hand.
Right.
And it's like mentoring the mom, like
Mm-hmm.
and this happens a lot. So but send them, and then they'll go, and they'll come, and they'll leave ready.
Mm-hmm.
They need we just need a little time.
Right.
Some a little longer than others.
Right. That happens.
Yeah,
That
but
happens.
and the same thing with our veteran population that comes too. They don't have a lot of opportunities, and a lot of certifications that they get while they're in the military aren't transferable.
Mm-hmm.
For getting jobs.
Right.
And it's like, man, that sounds familiar because that's what I went through as an inmate firefighter.
Right.
So we relate. You
Right.
got trauma, we got trauma.
Right.
Used to being far away from home for long periods of time.
Me too.
It's
Right.
like you mentioned Budnick. He told me a while back. He said, that's one thing about you guys. He said, I make movies,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys make good movies. Cause think about it. What's a good movie? A lot of trauma, a lot of drama, some more trauma, and then a happy ending.
Right.
And it's like he's like, I like that. Like you got like let's create more happy endings.
Right.
And so yeah, it's fun, bro. What we do,
That is
I
cool.
enjoy it. I wouldn't change anything,
Mm.
like I wouldn't change it. And the journey's been fun, and it still is. And yeah, man, it's
Uh,
yeah.
This is one question I do want to ask you, and I try to hit on this as being Mexican American, or being a person of color. Do you think you faced any difficulties on your way navigating from being a firefighter?
Yeah.
We're not even talking about just your being in the prison,
Mm-hmm.
but just on the fact that of your race and in the process of you not only, like I said, being a firefighter, but also, starting your own nonprofit or even your business,
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Like there was times, and I feel like, like it's still to this day. I think it was like a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
I was like, is that with the grocery store, and the security's like watching me. I'm like, I
Right.
could buy the store. I could
Right.
probably buy this store.
Right.
Like at this point, and if maybe not right away, but I could do it.
Do it. I can
Like
make
I'm
that
capable of,
Right.
firing you after that.
Right.
But like honestly, like I'm always like, and even before fire, like whenever we're not on duty, we're in chanclas and
Mhm.
shorts. So I
Mhm.
always dress as homeless as possible.
Right.
You know, as homeless looking as
Right.
possible. You know, no, but it's humble as possible.
Right.
You know, like
That's
I
what
don't.
it is.
You know, it's like and so I was with a good friend and they're like and they were like, hey, you know what? Why are you don't always wear the suits and why don't you? I'm just like, cause you know, like I just don't. I just want to be me. You know,
Right.
I don't want to change. Like, you know, like sometimes I'll bust it out.
Mhm.
Tomorrow I will wear one.
Right.
You know, graduation. So but there's times where I just want to be myself. You know, and just like, and I want to drive. You know, uh um my car, you know, I want to
Mhm.
like, you know, like I have my culture and my style, you know, my
Mhm.
ways that I want to be, you know, and it's like, and still the judgment's there, you know,
Right.
like, you know, for sure, definitely, you know, definitely doors not open because of, you know, I'm
Mhm.
not white, you know,
Right.
and so, for sure, but if anything, it's like going back to the struggles, you know, it's like it won't stop us, you know,
Right.
it'll never stop, you know, like
That's the thing.
because that relentless grit. It's like,
Mhm.
all right, well, I'll find another way. You
Mhm.
know, I'll find another. There's another way to get to this goal
Mhm.
besides you. You know,
Right.
so I'm gonna go to like your boss, or I'm gonna become, you know, in a position somewhere else where I can get there. You know,
Mhm.
always. You know, and you know another thing too is like I feel like maybe the haters are warming up to us because you know, I feel like we're the underdogs.
Mm.
You know, America was built on underdogs.
Absolutely.
You know, and so we're the new underdog story. You know,
Mhm.
the Rocky Balboas and the, you know, like
Right.
that's us.
Right.
You know, humbly saying the
Mhm.
justice involved community, especially here in Cali. You know that and even ones that come from the inmate fire program. You know, it's the hot topic about how they came through on the Palisade fire. You know,
Right.
when it was down fire season and a lot of seasonal firefighters are laid off,
Mhm.
who's still around? You know, the inmate firefighters.
Right.
So that's why it made a lot of traction. It
Mhm.
even brought a lot of traction to us.
Right.
Because after that, apparently when you Google inmate firefighter, I pop up. Because I had an interview with CNN and like Spectrum and
Yeah.
Japan,
Right.
Canada,
Right.
and a couple of podcasts, the European network.
Mhm. Oh, BBC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
them and oh shoot, a couple of Time magazine, Rolling Stone.
That's cool.
I was on Rolling Stone.
That's cool.
And you know, honestly, when all them waves were coming and they wanted to hear my subject matter witness
Mhm.
on the topic, I always diverted it to Future Fire Academy.
Mhm.
I wasn't talking. I don't want to share.
Me.
I ain't trying to talk about me.
Right.
It don't benefit me talking about, you know. So I put the energy towards the academy, but I also highlighted the unsung heroes. You know,
Mhm.
we call them angels in orange.
Right.
The, you know, the inmate firefighters, they're out there putting in that work, and you know, it was a trip because some of them were calling me.
Mm.
It's, you know, they're calling me and like, hey, we seen you on the news. And you know, because you know our numbers out there, we market
Right.
and put flyers everywhere, so they call like, hey, we seen it on the news, and I'm not gonna name drop, but one of them called me from his own cell phone.
Right.
And,
That's crazy.
I told him, I said, man, what are you doing? Come on now,
Right.
like, why you? He's just like, man, I saw you out there, and like, hey, we wanted to tell you that there's no one else we would want better or feel
Representing.
representing than you, and we're just thank you, you know, for sharing how we feel, and you know, because you know, one of the news anchors was trying to like put me in a position of answering a question where it would be controversial,
That's true. Right.
you know, and it's like, hey, I still have partners. You know, Cal Fire are my partners. CDCR, they're my partner.
Mhm.
You know, we work together. Those are good developed partnerships
Mhm.
that I've built over years. You
Mhm.
know, when she asked me that question, I diverted it and gave her a better positive. You know, I also promoted
Positive spin on it.
positive spin on it. But she was trying to go controversial and political. You know, and
Yeah,
I don't
put
get
you
it. I don't
against
get it.
something or
Yeah, so I just, you know, hey, respectfully, I just diverted it. I promoted the documentary they're doing on us too while I was at it.
right.
I give that shout out to Trial by Fire.
Mhm.
You know, Danny Trejo's our narrator.
Yeah, I gotta
They've
see
been
that.
filming for 2 years now.
Mhm.
It's gonna be great. And so anyway, but what I did was I mentioned that, hey, you know what? Yeah, it's unfortunate what's happening in the Palisades, but this happens year round.
Right,
They're
all
not.
the time.
They didn't just like develop over
Right.
this fire and go there.
Right.
They've been doing this since forever. Even Danny Trejo was an inmate firefighter at one point.
Oh yeah, I remember
You know,
you did
they
mention that.
they always show his San Quentin experience and stuff. But he was an inmate firefighter, which also I got to hit on that.
Yeah, you
too.
gotta tell that
Okay,
story.
so
Tell that
so
story.
Danny Trejo, my guy. So so he's in there. So we're doing a film shoot in San Quentin,
Mhm.
and so I was there too.
Mhm.
I was once a resident there. So I got to see my old cell. He
Mhm.
got to see his old cell.
Mm.
He actually did a sit down interview in his own cell,
Mm.
and so when we're man, I don't know if I should even say
Yeah,
this.
say it, no, you tell that story.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah, that's
yeah. So we're up there in the top tier where he was at in the
Mhm.
very far corner, and we're done. And he's like, he gets up and that was good. I got to take a piss, and it's just like, all right. So we all start pushing out,
Mhm.
and then you start to hear, and then
Yeah.
and the directors, and I knew he was gonna take a leak there,
Right.
because he's getting older,
Right.
and it's a long way down. If
Right.
you ever been, you know. And so he's so that they're all like, hey, is he really going to the bathroom? They're real square.
Right.
But such a great team, Trial by Fire,
Right.
the film crew. I love them, man. So they I've grown to love it and appreciate the film industry,
Mhm.
filmography, right?
Yeah,
But
you gotta see what it takes.
Yeah. I'm just like, man, so much respect.
Right.
So so he comes out, flushes the toilet, and he comes out. He's like, man, they must have swapped out the toilet because this one's way better than. Oh man!
so funny.
And then so we do another shoot. Towards we're wrapping up the day.
Mhm.
We're already walking around everywhere, and he was scooting around in the golf cart.
Mhm.
And so we brought him over to there was we couldn't, because the permitting and filming and licensing and whatever stuff with we can't just film anywhere apparently.
Right.
So anyway, but there was this little private beach spot we found, but it's a little hike to get to it
Mhm.
behind some like Bay Area mansions,
Mhm.
because San Quentin's in the Bay. So then we hiked to get there, and I'm helping the crew, and my job that day was to be his like personal like bodyguard and
Mhm.
like personal like just help
Make
with
sure he's good.
anything he needed.
Right.
I'll do it.
Right.
I was just there for him, and it was his reunion coming back,
Mhm.
and like talking about how he was an inmate firefighter and the things like that, and so he and I had a lot of good like little one-on-one time. But when we were done filming on that beach,
Mhm.
he's like, hey, mijo, I gotta go to the bathroom. So I'm like, oh shoot, man, I don't know how we're gonna pull this one out.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, if I ask one of these houses to use the bathroom, he's like, go ahead, I don't care. So I went over there, and it just so happened this guy lifted up his garage door,
Mhm.
and he's walking out to do something, I don't know what, and
Mhm.
I'm like, hey, do you mind? Can Danny Trejo use your bathroom?
Mhm.
And then he's like, he's like, you guys can use my bathroom, it's all right. And
Right.
I was like, cool, thank you. So then so I wave him over. I'm like, hey, Danny, this way. He's like, all right. So he comes on over, and then and he's like, oh, thank you for letting me use your bathroom. He's like, oh, okay, yeah. And the guy's like, cool. And he looks at me, and then Danny goes in the garage, had their own bathroom, because that's what mansions have. Apparently.
Right.
So then and then he looks at me. Was that Danny Trejo? I was just like, I told you.
Right. I
And
said
he's-
that's who needs to use
he's
the
like-
bathroom.
He's like, son of a bitch. He's like, Danny Trejo. I'm like, yeah, so the pee stains on that toilet, you can never wipe them off, because you could tell anyone who comes to your house to
Danny
visit,
Trejo
those are the pee
peed
stains
here.
of Danny Trejo right there on that toilet.
That's funny.
and then
That
he
is
laughed. I told him that, and then here comes Danny. He came out, flushed the toilet, and came out. He's like, hey, thank you for letting me. He's just like, Danny Trejo, I loved you in Heat. He's like, yeah, that was a good one. And then he's just like, what are you doing here? He's like, well, speaking of Heat, we're filming a firefighter movie.
Mhm.
And then he's like, oh, well, Danny Trejo mentioned, I was a firefighter once too. And then the gentleman said, yeah, thank you for your service. He's like, yeah, of course. He's like, I was too once a firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, really? Where at? He's like, San Francisco, fire chief.
Damn,
I was like, okay, chief,
that's
how about
face.
that?
That's
So
fake.
small world. What are the chances? Out of
Right.
all the toilets,
All the toilets in that one is
his old
garage came.
toilet in the
Right.
garage. Yeah,
That is crazy.
yeah. So that's my Danny Trejo story.
That's
And
cool.
yeah, and when that red carpet premiere comes, it's gonna be a good like reunion with the film crew and everyone who was on it.
Right.
There was a lot of folks on that. They got to highlight the Ventura Training Center.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people in the community of the justice involved, reentry stuff. They went to fire camps. They were on the Palisades fire. They filmed that. The firehouse program where I came from. We did a film shoot at my old firehouse, and they filmed me. Did an interview on my old bunk like they did with Trejo.
Okay.
And it was such a trip that day. It was like such a magical film shoot day, and everyone was talking about a lot of tears. And so and just reuniting with my old fire chief, my old captains, and thanking them in person, and going back for the first time. Seeing my name that I wrote on the bunk.
Really?
Yeah, because they always say, don't ever write your name anywhere.
It's gonna bring you
'cause
back.
It's gonna bring. So I was
Right.
able to go back in a good
But it
way.
brought
You know what I mean? And sharing the stories with the guys there, and I got to talk with the fellas there in that house currently, and then some of them actually came out and joined the fire academy.
Okay.
Future fire academy when
Yeah.
they were released. But anyway, but I'm on my way back home, and just replaying the whole day. It's like, man, what a trip. Like full circle. And my mom calls me. She's like, hey, how'd you do today, Mio? I was like, I did good. She's like, what'd you do? I was like, well, that's not why you're asking. You didn't know I came up to do this film shoot with at the old firehouse, in the prison. She's like, oh, that's not why I'm calling. She's like, but that's great.
Right.
She said, but you know what today is, right? I was like, nah, what? I'm like, I'm driving. I'm like, I don't see the calendar.
Right.
And so she's like, today marks your anniversary
Of
of
you
it
being
being 10 years since you went in, And so I was just like, man, it wasn't even 10 years at this point, because I did 9 years, and this happened last year. So I lost track of time.
Right.
I forget how old
That's
I am.
good.
I forget how old I am sometimes,
That's good
because
stuff.
over the years.
Life is going.
But anyway, but yeah, it was last year, and so she told me that this is the anniversary day. And then I was just like, man, and I was just like, that's deep. Like, it was a magical day, And then to be able, it was cleansing. The best word to describe that film shoot day, and going back, regardless film shoots, going back to my old firehouse and experience that, and being able to speak to the fellas there, and we put on a class for them there and certified them, and like being able to thank face to face my old captains and chiefs that helped me, gave me a second chance, and cheered me on along the way. We always kept in touch, but being able to see them again and show them, and brought our equipment, and a staff member, and like showed and like, hey, we're here, and like, this is what's happening, but thanks to you, you accepted me in this.
And that's what's so cool.
Yeah.
That, for them, because not only that helped change. I don't know how they thought at the present when they gave you the second chance, but for others,
Yeah.
and it helps open the doors, because and then you come back into their presence, like, and it's like a badge for them, or
Yeah.
award for them, a personal award to say, oh man, I'm so glad we gave that guy that second chance.
Yeah.
Look what he's done. Look what he's doing.
Yeah. And honestly, where it all started two parts. It started with the success and that, and then wanting to pay it forward. The loss of my friends. I had came out and was just gunning with this energy, but diverted it towards doing this project, and so anyway, but it was like really like having the doing it for the ones that couldn't, the ones who aren't, I don't even want to say that won't come home, because there's always hope.
Yeah, there's
And
always hope.
They're hanging on for hope,
Right.
and like you have a good story,
True.
like, you know what I mean, like, and so like that's what we do it for, the ones that show, and not only that, but even you know, like I don't want to always seem like, oh, poor us, because we
Right.
did make
We
mistakes,
made mistakes.
and I'm
We made those
remorseful
choices.
for the ones that I did, and it's giving back to communities that we took from or uh, did wrong to. You know, this is how we honor them,
Hmm.
by doing this work. You
Yeah.
know, by doing.
Forever, you're making amends,
Oh yeah,
and it's gonna be a lifetime thing.
and more, you
Right.
know, and helping, you know, the community and
Hmm.
everything else, and it's just gonna keep getting better,
Mm.
keep expanding, and then, you know, what's next, you know,
Right.
figuring out what's next and keeping that drive, you know, like I always told people, I'm like, look, when I get to the point where I feel stagnant, complacent, and mediocre,
Hmm.
then I want someone to replace me,
Right.
you know, because you know it's like all other nonprofits started at one point,
Hmm.
but they kept that momentum going,
Yeah,
you
you
know.
gotta keep growing.
You got to keep going, you got to keep
Yeah.
growing, and you know, and so like it's always the best person for the job, you know, like always. And so and even for my job, you know, and
Hmm.
so like I feel like the pressure is a privilege, you know, and it pushes me to like to do the best I can do, you know,
Right.
to make new networks, new connections. How can we help our population in another way? And is it going and representing a bill that can
Hmm.
be passed to help them? Or
Hmm.
is it, you know, speaking on the news, sharing stories, you know, a podcast like this, you know,
Hmm.
where other people can be educated because they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And if they only rely on Hollywood, they're going to see fake.
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
not gonna
they're
see
not going to see the
the
real.
truth.
Yeah, you ain't
You're
going
gonna
to
see
see
what's scripted for
for, yeah, you know, it's like,
entertainment.
and it's like this, like, you know, I remember coming home, you know, from that environment. It's a respectful, structured, you know, like disciplined, like environment, you
Hmm.
know, and then coming home to the free world where people are rude, they'll cut you off on the road
Right.
sometimes, you know, like the in line, they'll be all in your space.
Right.
No, no, excuse me, no,
Right.
you know, and not saying everybody, but a lot of times, you know, there's a lot of that where in
Hmm.
there there won't be
There
that
won't be that.
because no one ever wants that line to be crossed
Right.
because they know
That
what could happen.
conflict.
And they don't want to get it to that level.
Hmm.
That's what the movies show.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
that's the violent
Right.
part. You know, like we want to be able to you know, like so when we come home and we come home humble, we come home hungry, and like we are great employees. We're great leaders. We're great. Like we're showing it, you know, like we're taking, you know, roles, you know,
Hmm.
and like and opening doors for others people. It's like like we're the underdog. We're the
True.
underdog story for real.
That is,
And
and I feel like in society, like with those who formerly been incarcerated, there's a lot of smart guys. There's a lot of guys with drive
hmm
that and then some people will say, well, but you've been to prison. Um, we can't let you do this.
hmm
We can't allow you to be a part of this because of that. Two things. We suffered our punishment.
yeah.
We've been placed back in society.
hmm
Do you want me to live the same life I lived?
Yeah.
Or do you want to open the door? Now, I have the drive,
hmm
but I need the doors open
Yeah.
for me to go through. Can you open the opportunity? Don't continue to punish me for the rest of my life
Yeah.
and say because I've got this felony or because now I can understand in certain areas of work, yeah, it may say, well, that's questionable,
hmm
but there's so many areas of work that I'm not a bad guy. I
Yeah.
made some bad mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm not a bad person. Give me the opportunity to live.
Yeah.
Don't you want me to be a part of the society, a viable citizen?
hmm
That's why I applaud all the people who push for us to be able to vote.
hmm
I got to vote first time a couple years ago, and I've never had that opportunity.
Yeah.
And the opportunity was taken for so long.
Yeah.
To be involved with my community, I got to feel a part of this community in order to thrive in this
Yeah.
community.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And a lot of times for so long that was taken away from guys who came from home from prison.
Yeah.
It's not looked at as, how can we really help
hmm
him live?
Yeah.
and provide for himself, his family, you know, without having to go back to criminal activity or trying to uh, do something illegal or
Yeah.
against the rules. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
let this person live, man or male or female. You
Yeah.
know, but that's what I really applaud the organizations like you, your organization, all the organizations that are really truly
Yeah.
trying to help people and give them the opportunity
Yeah.
and open the doors for them, you know, to thrive. So I
Yeah.
appreciate
That's
you,
right, bro.
brother.
Yeah, bro.
Absolutely, I
Yeah.
truly do.
Yeah. Thanks, brother.
And it's a pleasure
Yes.
having you
Yeah.
here on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Thanks for having us too, man. But we've been hearing about you up there too already.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I already knew about before got the before we made the connection to come
Right,
down. I already know. I'm like, we're ready.
that's what's
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. You're
That's
out
what's
there
up,
for
man. I
sure.
just,
Yeah, bro.
you know, it's just important that
I was
we
excited.
we I give or we give the platform to people who are really doing things
Yeah.
in the community, trying to help not just the formerly incarcerated, but the misfortunate. You
Yeah.
know, opening, giving them a way to go for what they may not have.
Yeah.
You know, available for them,
Hmm.
helping them see, you know, there is a chance for you. You can do this. You can do that. If this is what you want to do, we have a door for you to walk through, and we'll support you
Yeah.
to get to whatever part of life you're trying to get to. We're
Yeah.
here to do that. Like I say, I always go back to put ARC in here too
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I love what Scott Budnick and
Yeah.
the ARC organization has done. Homeboy Industries as
Yeah.
well. There's other organizations.
So Art, we partnered now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
official.
oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
official partnership.
That's
Yeah,
even
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
See, and that's I'm trying to see if I can talk to homeboys,
yeah,
because that opportunity has to be available. No red tape,
yeah,
no politics.
yeah,
These are people's lives,
yeah.
and we just trying to make it better for them, and I think that's that's the work we do. We got to keep doing it,
Yeah.
and that's why I gave, like, I was inspired to do, like I said, to do this podcast. I went on another podcast in Sacramento called Educate, Elevate with Danny Morrison. And he gave me the opportunity, because I went to college in prison and my name was dropped
Yeah,
to represent, the Rising Scholars Program
that's right.
because I was part of the first cohort. And but he inspired me to do this podcast, and Jersey, Wolf, and
Yeah,
Juan. Which I don't know if you met Juan, but Juan's not here right now. But
yeah,
um, and they said, "Man, come on, we
yeah,
got this available.
yeah,
Let's do it."
yeah.
And I'm here, and I'm forever thankful and grateful
That's right.
for them, those who come on to the podcast,
Yeah,
who share their story, share their life, their struggles,
yeah,
and how they achieved. And because I really feel it's a necessity for us,
yeah,
to give them hope, to let them know it's possible to still, no matter your mistakes, no matter what your circumstances are, you could do it.
hmm
We live in proof of it.
Oh yeah, yeah. And to hit on that too a little bit is like, oh man, there was the cadets, well, alumni. They graduated. We're talking with them, and they wanted me to say a little something. I said, look, I said, I wear the scars of the hard work that
Mm.
in the door, the doors closed, the doors I had to break open, literal scars on my back from surgeries,
Mhm.
putting in work to this,
Mhm.
you know, uh, a little gray hairs too. No,
Right.
but it's like
Right.
it's aged me. I'm
Mhm.
putting in this energy into this, and like I wear that on me,
Mhm.
and so do the other people in similar positions like this that help, other founders and CEOs of other programs, or
Mhm.
people who are um in this line of work,
Mhm.
helping, so it's like, so we did it, so you could do it, so now make us proud, but take it to a new level. So there was a time when they wanted me to speak to the alumni, and like it was my turn. We're in a circle huddle, and like, so I just told them like this. I said, look, like I wear the scars of the hard work that's been put in, and the battles, and the doors closed, and ones I had to bust open for this, for you. Like I've been doing this for years now, like, humbly one of the leaders in this, the history that was made by me years back, it applied pressure to me to be in this position to help you. And I just want you to do better. Just like any father will always be proud of his son and okay with them doing better. You know? Like there's other people who be like, hey, I'm proud of you. But the one that's truly proud is a father to his son, And I'm not saying all of our alumni are my sons and daughters,
No, I
but
get
it's
what you
like,
mean.
but they're, you know what I mean? Like I'm genuinely proud. Like do more, take it to another level, become a fire chief, like take it somewhere else, wherever you can, that. And it's like it's apparently like I don't know how, but I've inspired folks to like also start businesses too,
Right.
and so like, and maybe they saw it because maybe in those some of them see me in the beginning, or maybe because they're friends with me and they see like, oh damn, he's a cool dude, and yeah, he has a business, like it could be done, So like I always like encourage like entrepreneurship, like always, like I heard in was it Ireland that their just involved population has a hard time getting employment. So what they did was they developed entrepreneurship classes and help people who come from prison start businesses so they can just create their own path,
Right.
And so I was like, damn, that's what's up. Like they figured it out, because if all these other doors are closing on them and they're running into these issues, that was the way they figured out how they could help that population, So it's like always, we accept everyone. Obviously, we do background checks, and, we vet out and interview
Right.
process. Prerequisites got to be done to join our program and programs, So, but we always make sure like that we always give the less fortunate ones a chance first. Like we're no longer on the back burners,
Right.
Like, hey, come in the front of the line now. Here's your chance now. Like how about you bring it? We bring it to the cities, to the we bring it to the most rated high crime or the cities that could use it,
Right.
and that are thankful for what we can give,
Yeah,
cities that
offering opportunities.
yeah, cities that appreciate that. And some people, if you don't know, you don't know, and if they weren't aware of it, well, some of our alumni are going back to their towns and to their city and able to share, and then now there's a new story, or you hear about cousin so and so or uncle or auntie, who's now a firefighter.
Right.
Really? Yeah, they bought a house. They've been fighting fire, and like, wow, that's an option now. It's like I actually took our program to Mexico.
Really?
Like I went, so I don't know if you remember in Palisades, the Mexico sent firefighters over.
Yeah, I do.
So then some of them had reached out and said, hey, you guys have a training program, and would you guys be interested? So I went down and taught 2 fire departments, fully certified them and everything, just on my own out of pocket.
That's cool.
I don't have funding for that, so I just came out of pocket and went.
Right.
And just to show like it could be done, and man, can you believe, and it was one of my buddies, Armando Neverete. He's also a VTC alumni, engineer with Cal Fire.
Okay.
He has a nonprofit called the Bombero Santa Cruz. It's Bombero means firefighter in Spanish, So, but his nonprofit, they can get equipment and they donate it to Mexico. So he donated a bunch of jaws of life, We call it auto extrication tools, So they got the spreaders, and they're trying to break a window with them when you're supposed to open the door with them.
Right.
So then he's like, they're sending them videos. Thank you for the equipment. And he's like, no, that's not how you use it.
Right.
So he hit me up. He's like, hey, Pedro, let's go to Mexico and train them how to use it.
Right.
So we went down there, and he brought more equipment from other departments that donated. And then we put on a whole class. And then they're like, hey, what else do you guys teach? I'm like, well, we could certify you in firefighting, and like Mexicans are hard workers,
Right.
and I'm not just being biased,
No, it's true.
and so like Mexican Americans,
Mhm.
so these are the actual like Mexicans from Mexico,
From Mexico.
and man, they can work.
Right.
Like I'm telling you, like there was a small group of a class I put on of 15 a few months ago, and I certified them, and everything that we offer, they could come work for Cal Fire if they want. So right now they're taking English, and I told them you got to be able to, because they kept saying you got to learn Spanish, and they kept razzing me because my Spanish isn't that good.
Right.
But I'm like, no, you need to learn English. If you're trying to come here,
right.
we're not gonna accommodate.
Right.
Everyone's not gonna accommodate to you.
Right.
So it was good because I learned a lot of my Spanish got way better, and then their English got better too. And so yeah, we're trying to work it out and figure it out, like where they can come, because they got released from the Palisades because they weren't qualified, but they came on humanitarian
just to
support, and so but they ended up getting released because other resources came eventually to help out. So but I just thought, hey, if they came and helped us just on the strength, like why can't we help them?
Yeah, right.
But if the government ain't gonna do it, if they're not gonna send people down there to do it, then I'm gonna just do it myself.
No, that's what's up though.
Because they've been like working years and years and years here,
Right.
and from Mexico coming here to work, and so like now, hey, here's another option, here's another opportunity of something you could do, and it's just magical for me because my grandma's side's from Jalisco, and that's where I went to teach, and to train in Jalisco, to where she's from, so it's like kind of like, through generations
Full
of
circle.
us coming up this way, it's like let's go back and help out her hometown, So
That's what's up.
it is really cool to go down. I love my trips down there. I'm got another one planned in soon to certify them and do some more training, and then they're a little behind, just they're kind of like it's just the lack of certain stuff that they don't have, and that's fine, but their heart's in it, and and even the Mexican citizens, they're not like how firefighters are here in America, because we have our 9/11s and we have our Granite Mountain hot shot burnovers, and we have line of duty deaths, and years of history from the starting of it, from years and years ago. There's history of fire service, whereas Mexico don't really have that. So like they more glorify like the military down there.
Right.
The firefighters are kind of overlooked. It's unfortunate. That it's unfortunate. It would take something of those events to happen for them to see the value in them. But like they're my brothers and sisters. Like regardless how, if the government's not gonna help them out because their finances, they don't pay them enough, and they're still out there, doing it for like nothing. So I'm like, hey, you guys want to come here and work? We pay better,
a lot better,
and we need help too,
right?
Because it's once again, it's the best men and women for the job, and if they're gonna learn their English, they're gonna come up here and they're gonna show out,
right?
Because man, they're good,
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
And the food's better too.
A lot better.
Oh yeah.
I guess. Well, I can say certain areas. I would say.
What's funny? It's like Northern California. Our food compared to your guys' food, or Mexican food at least, sucks. Like
Really?
the closer you get to the border, the
Right.
better the food
it
gets.
Right.
And
More
then
authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
More
yeah,
authentic.
NorCal Mexican food compared to your guys can't compare.
Yeah, that's what I tell people all the time, man. People like, hey, you want to go to Taco? Man, that ain't Mexican food.
Yeah.
Man, that's some.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Taco Bell.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I don't want to go to Taco Bell.
Yeah.
But hey, not to knock that fast food place, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying I like authentic,
Yeah.
Food or from whatever culture,
Yeah.
But man, this has been a pleasure, bro.
Yeah.
It's truly been a pleasure.
Thank you.
It was something else I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
I would ask you, for somebody who's transitioning from whatever, a 9 to 5, and they want to follow their dreams, and start a business or start a nonprofit, what would you tell them? What would you say to them if they, to take that chance?
Okay.
What would you say to them?
Well, I would say definitely keep your day job. In the meantime, you
Right.
need that consistent money.
Right.
You gotta have that money has to be coming in somehow. Like remember the stories I mentioned before of, the just chasing that dream. But
Right.
sometimes you gotta, to eventually you get there, but don't rush into nothing, especially into no bogus contracts.
Right. Right.
And definitely stay humble, but you gotta have that main goal. And it might be, keeping that job and starting it here and there part-time, and eventually building it up where now you're not gonna make money right away. Like I've been in this for going on 5 years or 4 and some change. And so I barely started paying myself through the nonprofit about 10 months ago. And I count every month.
Right.
Like when kids that say I'm 1.5, or
Right.
not that kids at 1.5 can say that, but
Right.
like I count all months.
Right.
The only 10 months I've barely put myself on the payroll. I was paying everyone else, but I was okay with that because more money that came in, I would dump into the program.
That's what great
Even when I
leaders
got
do, though.
even that first Cal Fire grant, I didn't pay it myself. I bought equipment so we could be self-sufficient in our fuel reduction division. Now we have our own chipper. We have our own bucket truck. We have a hot shot buggy, a small engine. All the equipment we need to be self-reliant, self-sufficient, where we don't need a handout for more grants, but we can work for it. And now we got the equipment to do it. It just like when they were bashing, was the Amazon guy, because they were like his team didn't like the way he was doing things, and like they wanted more. But he's like, no, just be patient, Like I have a plan. Look at him now.
Right.
So I would say, don't go rushing into making money right away, because you won't. But invest it in the equipment. Keep yourself in the red, they say. Like when you get more money and you're doing good, dump it back into more equipment.
Right.
And then get enough to get by, and never be like flashy and nothing. Like you see how I dress, like
Right.
I act this way. I'm always this way,
Right.
Like I'm just
You just
stay humble,
Right.
I still wear the same clothes that I wore before I went to prison. Those old clothes, I still wear them.
That's
Like
cool.
I got the same. This is a shirt. This shirt right here is an old one. Guaranteed these socks are. I finally like gave up and got some Birkenstocks. But like
right.
I cut my own hair still to this day.
Really?
And I've been cutting since I was a kid. I don't go
That's
to a
cool.
barber and pay no $50 to no one. I save. You
Right.
gotta always find ways to save.
Right.
And then maybe not buy the new equipment or whatever it is that you're buying or dabbling into. Maybe get the used stuff. And then maybe have a way where you can partner with people who see your vision, and they maybe volunteer base if in the beginning if you have to, but paying them through stipend route, maybe not staff route. It's like always finding ways to grow and build, and then eventually getting to that point where whatever your niche is, but definitely just keeping that drive. And even when the times get hard and then the struggles, still keep pushing, And when there's a little bump in the road or some haters try to, just keep that drive, because whatever,
grinding.
keep grinding. You got to grind out late. Come on. Hey,
Right.
but you got to stay on the grind and just keep that head down, and but eyes open,
Right.
and open for new opportunities for your business, and always find ways to market it and network it, and always be professional. I remember in the beginning, like barely with any money, I made sure to get swag. I bought swag and stuff. I got some right here.
Okay.
And so pins, business cards. I remember, man, when I went to an event and I passed out my business card, on my way out I saw one on the floor. I'm
You
like,
was better
what?
go
I
pick
picked it
that
back
up.
up. I'm like, and then I
Right.
searched the tables, and there were some that people had forgot somewhere.
Right. Let me
I'm
grab
like,
that.
man,
Yeah.
shoot, we
I'm gonna
need
use
that.
it. Right.
We need all that,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, always,
That's
finding
funny.
a way, yeah, like even my banner and it late at night, with the sign up, or, whatever it takes to do what you got to do, and traveling far, and it's commitment, and then it's also knowing like the family support, because they could help you, they could build you up, or they can also
Break you
knock you
down.
down,
Right.
and it's like really, it's like finding that support system, making sure that they see your vision, and because if they pull you down and stop you from reaching that goal and say you quit it, then later on you'll resent them,
Right.
so they gotta see the vision and also go through the struggle too,
Right.
and they gotta be a part of that too,
Struggle with
because
you.
it ain't always, it ain't, there's the part of getting there, the journey part is the one that you remember, that's what you remember, is the journey.
Right.
Like, now I could breathe,
Right.
now I have multiple cars,
Right.
I'm not sleeping in one,
Right.
they're company cars though,
Right. But
and
still.
vehicles,
Right.
but there's like 7 of them,
Right.
and so like, like there's, homes, like home ownership, and like, all these things now where it's like, there's light at the end of the tunnel. So for that person, like you said, the question, is like, definitely like, know that there's light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to create it.
Yeah, you have to
you
stay
gotta
in
create-
it and work hard.
Yeah, because no one's gonna love that as much as you.
Right.
And it's a baby, and for babies you gotta give it nourishment and feed it, making sure it grows, right?
Right.
And a good foundation, and like, and always have good policies and procedures and insurance for everything.
Absolutely. Have
Definitely.
that coverage.
Yeah. And then, get someone, like, because everyone has their strengths and their weaknesses. Like, I know there's certain things that I'm not technology. It's just not, certain things I'm not, like, that's not mine. So finding people that work with you, they can help with that, Like, even like if it's close family, friends, family and business could work. It could work.
Right.
Depending on the people.
Right. That's what I think counts.
And so, but like in other friends, say roommates or however, because now you're with each other more time. Because imagine having a business starting off with someone that you only see Monday through Friday.
Right.
And then Monday through Friday, now you got an hour lunch. What about the 15-minute breaks now? And then now, and then they have their own meetings, and then they got to check out their phone calls and their email time and whatever else, the drive time to do. So it's like, now when you think about it, the only times that you're committed to the growth and conducting business is how much, But if you're with someone all the time, someone that you can network, talk with freely all the time, not only Monday through Friday and holidays, and so, what I mean? Like, minus, it's like, now that's more time committed
That
towards
could work better.
that could work better. Now that's doable,
Right.
If it makes sense, like, you always got to do what makes sense first, and taking the right steps to get there,
I think that's the key thing too that you say. You got to think about what makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes a lot of entrepreneurs, they get into a field and have their mind fixated on this money. Not even enough on the passion of what you're doing, and you want to skip straight to the top.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen like that.
No.
And that's another reason this platform, because I want people to understand that though you see people successful, and you may not know about the journey that they took directly, because I can't always tell my full story of my journey. You may have seen me win, and then you see me now. But that in between, that was a lot.
Yeah,
that was a
exactly.
lot, and it continues. It doesn't even stop when you get successful. So, and I think that's important, that entrepreneurs or people who are looking to start a business, a company, or organization, even get into the entertainment field, it's not overnight success. That's a rare thing, very rare thing.
Yeah.
There's work that has to be done, so you have to dedicate yourself to it.
Yeah. I got a good example
Let me hear.
So there's a good friend of mine that I've grown to. His name is Xavier Oliveras,
Mm-hmm.
and he is a VTC alumni and heliTAC firefighter. He's been in it for a long time now. Well, he had the same feeling I had, and like other folks have, where and you've had to,
Mm-hmm.
where now you want to pay it forward, you know.
Right.
So he had been in his community, Santa Rosa, helping out people, going and speaking in the juvenile halls, similar background like us, like we're doing community service things and like in all this field of doing it. And so we had got in touch because the Trial by Fire film crew went and like filmed him and his story. And so they're like, hey, we got a good VTC alumni. His name's Xavier. Cool dude, you should meet him. He's one of the subjects in the film documentary. So I'm like, yeah, I want to meet him. So then he came over. At this point, we're doing our Stockton Fire Academy. He came over, started talking, and it's like, like hit it off, And he's like, hey, man, I want to do something like this, I want to do something. I'm like, as you should, if you're in a position where you can pay it forward, then pay it forward. Because there's one thing I always tell people too, is you can't help others if you can't help yourself. Right. But if you can help, if you're good and you're in that position, definitely, And so he was. And so then he kept coming back, and I said, hey, look, if I'm true about this mission and about what we do, then I'm more more than willing, open-heartedly share with you the secret sauce to do this. So I'm gonna do that to you. I'll never look at it like a competition, because then my heart's not in it for the right reason.
Right.
And so and it's just, I look at it this way: if he was released before me, and it was vice versa, I just did my time before, I got out, and and I pushed the career. And if it was vice versa, I would be in the same position he was, and I'd be hitting him up, hey, how do I do it? I want to do it. Like, you did it. How do I get there? Just like in the beginning, how we talked about,
Right.
Like when you're successful, you want to know how people got there.
Right.
How do I get there? And so I just, he helped out and helping train the cadets. Got to show him, I'm like, you're already a firefighter. You already been doing it for a long time, and you're a heliTAC. Like, that's freaky. I would not do that. Like,
Right.
That's some scary shit.
Right.
And so like, if you're able to have time off and do this, like, so I walked him through the process, and then in the end, he's like, hey, you know what? Like, we start talking, we're like, hey, what about doing like a division of it, and we partner, collaborate, and do it together? I'm like, yeah, we could do that too.
Right.
And then that's what we did, and it was a great academy. It was because we did San Francisco, Stockton, Sacramento that year, and then we started off the year with Santa Rosa, and it was him. And so and at that time I had like a lot of other business stuff going on, so he really did it on his own. I had very minimal engagement, just kind of like showed him, and he took it and ran with it, and had the Santa Rosa Fire Department on board with the training tower and a class space, and like everything, like fuel reduction projects, doing community service work, roadside clearance work, like took it to a different level of like, and it was very like pleasing to see, refreshing to see someone wired like me,
having that same
the
drive,
energy, to have that. And it's just like, and that's why the graduation is for the Saturday, is because a lot of them came from SoCal. A lot of that class came from here to go up there, and we had them housed and everything. And John Cesario, Excellent Way Foundation, he was a big part of helping that. On his off time, he would come in on his own time to help house these dudes and help. And then even our partner, Michelle Sotalo, she was a big part of that. Like a lot of people made that happen.
Right.
The village, but he was the lead. Yeah, the we.
Right.
And he was the lead, definitely on that and coordinating that. And like we helped the way we could, send them all the equipment and the things and whatever we can, purchase. We bought it to make sure it ran smoothly.
That's cool.
So now it's celebrating them, but then it's also an eye opener of like, man, we got to bring it to LA, because I don't know how accurate this is, but I feel like from the grapevine up and the grapevine down, the populations are equal.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's from the grapevine down, because
Yeah.
you guys got population.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
a lot of people.
I feel like between all our major cities from the
Mhm.
Grapevine up combined is about equal to Grapevine down.
Right.
Like I don't.
I believe so too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
And so
it's-
like if you guys have the population, and especially for you have a high population with our community of the justice involved in that, and people who need chances and opportunities, and at risk youth and things like that. It's like the prevention folks. Like what if we get them and we put on one here? And so that's where Eddie Herrera comes in. We're just chopping up with him
Right.
here, and so like, and he's got a great story. He's another
I got
Xavier.
some of it.
Yeah,
You won't
yeah.
have to get it full.
Yeah, you
though.
gotta do that one
Right,
with him over
right.
here again, bro. Cause man, Eddie Herrera's he's another, I feel like he's a huge public figure in this
Mhm.
line, and a great one for us to have. Great at speaking.
Right.
He advocates for bills. One even passed to give the inmate firefighters a pay raise.
Mm.
He was one of the leads on that as a subject matter witness, speaking on behalf.
Okay.
Because he came from some. Well, I'll let him tell his story. But,
Yeah.
I
Look,
don't want
got
to
you.
spoil it. But
Right.
so he's gonna be another. We're gonna start a new division down here
Mhm.
this summer, and he's gonna be the lead on that.
Okay.
So that's where another part where I'm down here too.
That's what's up.
But kind of circling back to your question, like the hustle never stops.
Right.
Like since I've been down here, I've had like 3 meetings,
Right.
and tomorrow morning I got another one,
Right.
for to add some new stuff to what we got, so there's a lot in the work. And another thing too, back to that question is like, don't always share all your ideas.
Right.
With the ones you trust and love, and they respect you, respect them, and people you could lean on, like that's okay. That space is okay for that. I never speak on something that we don't already do, because I done that before. Like one time I was at a conference, and it was a mixer summit after the conference, and I was talking with someone about idea, and then he told me, "Hey, let's go over here." Don't. I was like, "What?" He's like, and I turned around, and there was a dude behind me with notepad and paper writing
it down.
because he may have the resources and
To
the
put it
connections
together.
and the money, but they don't have what we have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like we got that.
Right.
They don't have that secret sauce.
That's true.
And then this conference wasn't even nothing related to fire and what we do. It's just but it's just like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just good to show like is what I'm getting at is like certain things you just
Gotta keep to your chest.
Yeah, and with people that that could, can have good feedback, good hearted. You gotta have those ones to lean on, But sometimes when people are excited about something, they talk about it a lot. It's normal, it's human, But sometimes it falls on the wrong ears too,
Right. That's true.
So that's another thing too.
I'm learning that.
Yeah,
I'm
so
definitely learning
sometimes
that.
you just gotta have that mentor one that will help you, and it ain't financially always. It could be just like, hey, this is what you gotta do next, or hey, you know what? Go give me your ideas, let it on me, and then all right, you're full of shit. Don't do that.
Right.
You need to do this, and they'll
Right.
tell you straight up.
Straight up.
They'll tell you the raw, uncut way of
That's what you
the
want.
bet. You want the truth. You don't want no bullshit,
Right.
And so like that's another thing too is like my grandpa used to always say too, is like he said when you do things, you do them right, and you do it the first time, mijo, and no monkey business.
Right.
It's just like whatever. Like, okay, grandpa. Okay.
Right.
And then years later, you learn like, fuck, man, why am I fixing this again? I'm like,
Right.
wow, you gotta do it right, the first time. No monkey business. Like when you do it right. You do it the first time. So it's like everything, even in business, when you make a move, you make sure all things are in place so it's successful. And then and you plan ahead.
Right.
Like you got your short term, long term, different goals and plans, but everything's leaning to help that. Like even with the ARC partnership, I spoke it into existence a year ago. I said, I know, I see the need for this partnership. I said, because they are me and I am them. I didn't go there, but I am,
Right.
we are the same people. We need to like Spartacus, you know?
Same community.
Spartacus, you know, and they came together to bring together. That's a legit good partnership of good people, you know, that been doing it with a great track record. And like, so it was refreshing through organically through the process of, you know, Xavier and, you know, working with John Cesar and Ellis. It happened. And then that's when Scott Budnick came in. It's like, hey, we need to do something here. Like, we need a partner.
Right.
I'm just like, okay. Like, okay, you know, like,
Right.
how about it? You know, and I felt like there was a time when I wanted to approach them with that, but at that time, it wasn't meant for
Wasn't
that
the
time,
right time. Right.
for us or them, you know? And I don't know why. Maybe they, for whatever, you know, right now, this was that time it was meant to be. And now we're going to be able to together help way more people, you know? Because our programs thrived off alumni who graduated
Right.
and came back to pay it forward,
Right.
you know?
That's
And
the important thing.
And so now they have alumni who's coming, working together now, creating new divisions together, all for the same goal, you know? And we're figuring it out, rolling with the punches and adjusting. Okay, housing, what are we going to do to fix that part? New certifications of other employment opportunities besides this. Like, how can we do it? You know, our team's like, it's a good see, because it's like they have partnerships, networks that they developed over years and respect that they've had, and so have we, you know?
Right.
And like, you know, and like, in together we can bring it together, you know? It's
Right.
like, you know, it's like, you know, with us, we started very similar, you know, in different ways, and saw the need for it to be done. You know, these things, there's something needs to do something about it. Like, or why are we gonna just complain like everyone else about this topic, that
Seen
topic,
the
this
need,
topic?
and then you said, okay,
Yeah.
what steps can we do to resolve
help
it or
it, you
to
know?
address that need?
So nonprofits, it's like, you know, they say like in business, they're hit hard, supply, demand, and money. But for us, it's like, well, need and action,
Right.
you know, like, and like, let's grind it, get on the grind together and help it, you know,
Right.
like, help me, help you, help us, help them.
Right.
Yeah, you know, does that make
That's how
sense?
the perfect sense.
Yeah, you
That's
know,
what it's
and
about.
so the partnership is going to be helpful because now their alumni will be are going to want to come and be a part of it too. Like they've already been, you know, we've had a lot of them helping out, you know, already, you know, with the training and mentorship and even helping folks get in. You know, we got Troy Senegal is another hitter, part of our team too, and he's up in the Bay, and he helps some alumni get in and network through his department because he's in the position as a professional firefighter to do that.
Okay.
You know, it's like we're helping each other and we're getting there. You know, it's like, and like we're a force to be reckoned with. Humbly saying we're, you know, because we're hungry, trying, you know, like and it's the best person for the job, you know, and like, and if we got experience, especially for those of us who come from the inmate fire program, we're you know, and so like, yeah, but falling back to the business, it's like always do something that you love, but something that you're good and have a niche for, that you can do something different. You got to be different.
Yeah, you can't do what everybody else is doing.
You can't create a McDonald's right next to McDonald's,
right.
or a market next to the Safeway.
Right.
You guys got Vons here.
Right.
We're Safeway up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, you gotta find something that sets you apart, that stands out. You know? Like, why would I want to go here than when I can go here? You know, what's that? You know.
That's what I say even too about. That's why, like I said, with this podcast, and I was adamant about, I'm not doing a podcast about who's beefing with who.
Yeah,
I'm not doing a podcast about, you know, what celebrity is messing with this celebrity. You know, I want to give the people who are doing things for the community, for or giving back to the community.
Yeah.
In the process of them trying to build their dreams.
That's right.
You know, I want to give them that platform, and then be all positive. How can we help others out, bro?
That's right, bro.
And that's that's what counts.
That's right,
So,
man.
Man, this is great. This is cool for me.
Bro.
This is cool for me. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Feels good. Feels good talking about this stuff too. You know.
What was I gonna say? if you have anything else you want to say, shout outs, you know, anything
man.
upcoming, especially that song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you gotta plug that song.
Oh yeah.
And you gotta plug you've talked about the documentary, but I want you to plug it where
Okay.
it may be coming out on.
Yeah. So hey, yeah, thanks for having me. Big shout out to you.
Absolutely,
You
thank
know,
you, man.
and you know, I love the vibes that you got here. Our candle went out though.
Right, I don't know what happened,
but we're still a hot topic.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just really grateful to be here and to share it. It's cleansing also for me. I appreciate that. It's good for me to, you know, share this too, you know, and who knows what can come of it, you know. It's like, you know, it's kind of a trip, you know, like shout out to Eddie Herrera. He, you know, we were talking the other day, he and I, and he said, he said, you know, I've seen you before, you know, I met you. And I was like, wow. And so rewind back to the all begin, you know, the inspirational firefighter video that came out. It was Anthony Pedro, firefighter on parole, Anthony Pedro, whatever, YouTube. So, and it was just sharing me paroling after being home 6 months, working with the municipal department as a volunteer firefighter, and then sharing how I want to become an engineer next and that, you know. And so that video was made by CDCR, and then they shared it in the institutions. And Eddie was in the institution when he first arrived there as an MA firefighter and watched it, and he said, "Man, like that guy did it, I could do it." And here he is, an engineer in Riverside, you know, for a huge truck company, you know, and you know, it's like doing great with Cal Fire, making big waves for us. You know, and taking it to a new level, you know, like, and Xavier too, same thing with Santa Rosa, Xavier Oliveras doing his thing on the helitack, and now getting a perm spot position now too, and promoting with Cal Fire, and like, you know, big shout out to them, you know, and all of our alumni and instructors who come help out. You know, Swift, she's an instructor with us. She just got on with Cal Fire. And I told her, I'm saying, hey, you know, if you got to leave and go, spread your wings, get experience. You know, I don't want to hold you back here helping instruct with us, go. So she's going to go do it for a while.
That's right.
You know, and maybe if she comes back, hey, you still always got a home with us, you know, and I love her. You know, she's a great instructor. And it's helped so many people, and she's passionate about the mission, you know. And she actually did a podcast talking about the program too.
Really?
Yeah. So we'll have to get her over.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, you know, just thanks to everyone, even Michelle Satalo, you know, our COO. I'm the CEO. She's the COO. You know, my brother Rob and everything he does on behind the scenes. You know, all my family and friends and support, loved ones. You know, I love you all. You know, thanks for all the partners and new partners to come. You know, yeah, just thanks for everyone.
Don't forget the haters.
Yeah, thanks to the haters.
Thanks for the haters too.
Yeah, keep up the good work. Keep up the bad work.
Right.
Yeah, man. And if I'm forgetting someone, you know, I love you. Thank you for everything. You know.
Also the music video.
Oh, the music. Okay, yeah, thank
music.
you. Yeah, so yeah, Cali West Carter, check him out on Apple Music, all platforms.
Okay.
The song's called Trial by Fire.
Trial by Fire.
And it's our anthem. And he and another cadet alumni who graduated, they made the song. It's called Trial by Fire. It's
that song is fire.
Yeah, Kelly West Carter. It's on there. Yeah, you know, our website, Future Fire Academy. Check it out. Trial by Fire. The movie, the documentary coming out. Danny Trejo, the narrator, and I always call the film crew Netflix.
Right.
But they're a film crew company, you know. But I call them Netflix because I'm speaking it into existence. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, well,
Danny Trejo's the narrator.
Right.
We're the underdogs here.
Right. and we gonna push for that.
It's gonna
Netflix,
go. It's good.
pick it up.
Yeah,
Pick it up. Trial by Fire.
Trial by Fire is gonna
Absolutely.
come out. Check it out. And I'm very invested in helping that film in any way that I can. Since they started filming, whether it be getting subjects to interview or any way connection, bringing them to my firehouse and calling my chief, hey, get these guys in here, because they're pushing a good story and sharing a good message and the truth,
Right.
and no controversial nothing, like how you said, and so that's the best part about them, so David and Nadmint, he's one of the main directors of that. Shout out to you, Dave, and thanks for all the hard work you and your crew put in towards that film. Yeah, what else?
Yeah, that's whatever you want. I mean, whatever you got planned.
All of our
future.
funders. Yeah, all of our funders.
Definitely the funders.
Yeah, the funders.
They help.
Yeah,
They help make things happen too.
Yeah, and they really help take it to another level.
Right.
Thanks to Cal Fire and their funding that they've done. Thanks to the state budget. For putting us on the state budget we're on. It's like the governor's budget. We're on it.
Do you guys? This is what I didn't ask. Do you guys take private donations or private?
We do.
funding?
Yeah, because we are 501c3 nonprofit charity.
So you guys hear it. So
Tax exempt.
if you got it to give, and you believe in this the guy.
Yeah, we know what
Send
to do with a little.
Yeah.
So if you give us, anything, we'll be appreciative, and we could make it go a long way.
I mean, you got to, especially those, I don't know if I told you, but I was affected by the LA fires.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Altadena and Los Angeles, and that was devastating, bro.
Man,
it was devastating. The whole Altadena was gone within 24 hours.
Yeah.
But so I said all that to say that, it hit home for a lot of people, at this present time, to realize that what life is really about and how fast things can just change.
Oh, yeah.
And there was no faces, when people were out there fighting those fires, trying to save people's house, or even after the fires and during the fires, trying to help people. Nobody looked at it and said, oh, was this person incarcerated? Was this person this? Did this person? No. They looked at this person and said, this person is here to help.
Yeah.
They're helping, and we need it.
Yeah.
And that's what it all should be about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true, and going, man, the experience, just mine as an inmate firefighter, I was fortunate as, is unfortunate for the things that I did to get there, but I was very fortunate for the experience that I got while I was in that program, in the inmate fire program, it's like I put a tourniquet on a CO who got sideswiped, leg amputated on his way to work, patients, CPR on a baby, she passed, so many calls, bowling alley fire, so many situations and saves too. Not all, but a lot of good saves. It's that's just one of many of us that are contributing towards that statewide. The Palisade, all the guys on the Palisade,
Right.
and gals too. There's a lot of women firefighters on that one that they
Shout
don't.
out to them too.
Yeah, they don't mention them, but they were there too from Puerto La Cruz. There's a crew down there, and there's San Diego, and another one over here by Rancho. No, not Rancho. Man, it's by the ocean. I don't know, but there's another one too, a Rainbow Crew.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So, but anyway, they're putting in the work too. It's statewide. There's every prison has a firehouse with inmate firefighters statewide helping. There's crews. There's all around. The state. Helping towards this. So yeah, big shout out to them too, and helping and everything too. Maybe I'll leave us with that.
All the time.
Thanks to them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Once again, man, like I say, Anthony, it was a pleasure having you
Thank you.
on Grind LA. It's a pleasure to have met you and to hear your story.
Yeah,
You know, this is the beginning of a friendship, though.
Yeah, man.
So, man, I appreciate you, man. Once
Thank you,
again.
thank you for
All the
what you
time.
do, bro. Sharing it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
yeah. This is what's going in history. You
Right.
know? In the
Man.
old times, maybe we would have carved it on a rock or
Right.
something in a cave or something. You know,
Right.
You
Now
know,
it's
from
recorded.
cavemen. Now
Right.
it's this is it now.
It's on video.
This is it. Yeah, forever.
Man, what an incredible conversation. Huge thank you once again to Anthony Tony Pedro for stopping by and sharing his journey with us. To everyone listening, thank you for coming along for this ride today. Hearing Tony's story from those early moments in life to where he stands now with the Future Fire Academy is a testament to what happens when you refuse to quit on your vision. Regardless of what others may think, his determination has really paid off. There were so many gems dropped today, and honestly, so many moments we'll definitely need to follow up on in the future. Tony, we're wishing you nothing but continued success as you keep opening doors and saving lives. As for the rest of you, keep pushing, keep building, and keep showing up for your community. We'll see you on the next one. This is Shovon Walker, and this has been The Grind LA. Make sure you follow at Future Fire Academy to see the work they're doing. You got Instagram?
Yeah. Mine's one Tony_Pedro, and then at Future Fire Academy is our company one, and then Facebook and all that's the same. FutureFireAcademy.org.
Well, you guys hear it. There it is. There.
Yeah.
Go check him out. Go see what he's doing. Helping the community. See how you can help too. Thank you.
That's right.
Grind LA. We out.